Ladies and gentlemen, can I have your attention, please? We'd like to start tonight's event. Ladies and gentlemen, can I have your attention, please? We'd like to start tonight's event. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the newly refurbished visitors' entrance to the United Nations. My name is Stephen Sequeira, and I'm pleased to be your Master of Ceremonies tonight for the opening of this very important exhibition, The Long Journey. Allow me first to give the floor to His Excellency, Mr. Fodesek, Chairman of the Committee on the Exercise of the Inalienable Rights of the Palestinian People, to welcome you on behalf of the committee.
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it is very encouraging to see so many people here. Thank you all for coming. What a great honor to be here with you all for an evening that is part of the commemoration of the International Day of Solidarity with the Palestinian people. It is worth remembering that the Committee on the Exercise of the Inalienable Rights of the Palestinian people was established by the General Assembly in 1975 with the mandate to promote the realization by the Palestinian people of their national rights, defined as the right to self-determination, the right to national independence and sovereignty, and the right of the Palestinians to return to their homes and property from which they had been displaced and uprooted. This year's exhibition, The Long Journey, which documents both the hardships and the dignity of the Palestinian refugees driven away from their homes, is precisely about the right of Palestinian refugees to return. Some of the photos and videos show elderly Palestinians that relay tales of homelessness and despair that started in 1948. Others remember the horrors of 1977 and the subsequent Israeli settlement expansion in the territory. Others show young Palestinians making do with what they have, studying, playing, socializing, refusing to surrender to hopelessness and despair. I hope you will take some time to wander through the exhibition. I believe you will be moved as I was when I walked through earlier on. Our committee would like to remind the international community and the public opinion that 66 years after the original displacement as a result of the Israeli-Arab conflict of 1948, the situation of Palestinian refugees, a particularly vulnerable and disadvantaged group, numbering 5 million, remain as precarious as ever. We are particularly alarmed by the situation in Gaza, where the refugee majority population over the past years has been subjugated to wars and a crippling Israeli blockade. The committee highly appreciates the effort by UNRWA and other UN bodies to deliver assistance to the Palestinian refugees in their camps in the occupied Palestinian territory, in Jordan, in Lebanon, in Syria, under often very dire conditions. It is crucial that the international community donor provides the organizations with indispensable financial support. A just and fair solution of the Palestinian refugee problem has to be part of a comprehensive solution of the question of Palestine. I would like to thank UNRWA's Commissioner General, Mr. Pierre Krahenborg, for his effort to make this exhibit a reality, and the agency's leading photographer, Mr. George Nehme, who played a large part in the preparation of this ambitious project. Special thanks will go also to the Permanent Observer Mission of the State of Palestine, whose close cooperation with the Committee and the Division for Palestinian Rights made this exhibit possible. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm now honored to introduce the Secretary General of the United Nations, His Excellency Mr. Ban Ki-moon. Secretary General.
Your Excellency, Ambassador Fordesek, Chairman of the Committee on the Exercise of Inalienable Rights of Palestinian People, Your Excellency, Mr. Riyad Mansour, Permanent Observer of the State of Palestine, Your Excellency, Madam Annika Söder, State Secretary for Political Affairs of Sweden and Chair of the UNRWA Advisory Commission, and Mr. Pierre Cohen, Commissioner General of UNRWA, Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I am pleased to join you on this day of solidarity with the Palestinian people. The photographs here, many of which are from the UNRWA archive, capture the history of Palestine and Palestine refugees from 1948 to today. The images vividly express the human cost of this decades-long conflict. They also exemplify the unbroken commitment of the international community to support the Palestinian refugees community through the heroic work of UNRWA, as we saw once again during the terrible Gaza conflict this summer. The photographs are also a reminder that the suffering of the Palestinian refugees living in camps since 1948 is not limited to Gaza and the West Bank. Palestinian refugees in Syria are victims of the civil war in that country, and the situation for Palestinian refugees in Lebanon has become more precarious. These images amplify the call to end the conflict and finally stop the cycle of building and destroying. The status quo is unacceptable and unsustainable. The worsening situation underscores the need for leaders on both sides to stand up extremists in their own communities and make the difficult decisions for stability and security for Israelis and Palestinians. There is simply no substitute for a two-state solution. We cannot afford another year without tangible results. I assure you I will continue to do everything in my power to achieve our common goal. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you for your remarks, Mr. Secretary General, and for your attendance at tonight's event. I now have the honor to ask Mr. Pierre Cohen, Commissioner General of UNRWA, for a few words on this occasion.
Mr. Secretary General, Mr. Chairman, Secretary of State, Ambassador Mansour, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it is a real honor to join in welcoming you here on the occasion of the opening of this important exhibition of pictures and images drawn predominantly from UNRWA's historic photographic archive. It is wholly appropriate that this exhibition is mounted as part of the events marking the International Year of Solidarity with the Palestinian people. The historical importance of UNRWA's archive cannot be overstated. What you see here is only a small portion of the 430,000 negatives, the 85,000 slides and 730 videos that represent a fascinating but also very often disturbing visual record of the course of events which have shaped the lives of Palestinians and of Palestine refugees over the last 65 years. Reflecting its importance, as you are aware, it is inscribed in UNESCO's Memory of the World Register. Preserving this archive has been an international effort, with funding from Denmark, from France, and many donors from the Palestinian private sector. Variants of this archive have already been displayed in Jerusalem, in Gaza, in Dubai, in Amman, in Rome, and Turin, and further exhibitions are planned in Ramallah and Spain in the near future. I very much hope that the archive will be seen as widely as possible, since it is a unique record of the modern history of Palestinian people. As you walk through the exhibit, you will see in the images of refugees a mix of representations. On the one hand, you have here a reflection of the history of Palestinians and Palestine refugees in the sense of all of the history and identity of loss, dispossession, humiliation and oppression. And on the other hand, you have an equally important reflection of the role that Palestinians have played in supporting other Palestinians. You will see in these images Palestinian doctors, Palestinian nurses, Palestinian teachers and education staff that have made up the identity and the history of UNRWA and its engagement. Please value the two dimensions equally, as they are the reflection of what Palestine and Palestinian refugee experience stands for. You will also see stunning images of learning. And this is certainly one of the key contributions that Palestinians themselves and UNRWA together have made to a fantastic process of human capital development over a very long period. But please also, as you walk through and look at the pictures, remember that as you look at the pictures of the children, but also of the adults, that we should recall it every time, that behind each and every picture and person that you see in it is a personal destiny, a life that has been torn apart, that came as every single other life on this planet with hope and expectations for a different future, a future that we can still create. But remember, as we have stated numerously and on repeated occasions during the war in Gaza, we cannot reduce the Palestinian experience to statistics. Palestinians are not statistics. Palestinians are just as every other family on this planet, people with hopes and expectations for their future. As the Secretary General has said in his statement, this exhibit also reminds us of the importance of political action to bring about a paradigm change and to bring about hope in a very gloomy landscape. The UNRWA archive is far big enough. We do not need to add years of more photographs to this archive. Let us bring about a dignified and lasting solution to the Palestinian people and to the situation of Palestine refugees. I thank you very much.
While you see depressing pictures of refugees who are revolutionary in their own way, which preach musicians.